Okay, hi there. I'm Gudrun Lauret. I'm the content and podcast manager here at Travelogue, and I have called my friends for a special travelogue edition of Tubb Talk, the podcast for IT consultants. So here with me today are Richard Tubb and Lenka Koppova, and they have been at Pax8 Beyond EMEA 24. How are you feeling, guys? Because I think you've had a couple of busy days of networking, learning. And also, from the sounds of it, partying, is that right?
Yeah, it's been crazy, hasn't it, Lenka? Like crazy good. So we're in Berlin, Germany. This is the first time the Pax8 Beyond event, which is a new event in itself. There's only been like two in the US over the past 2 years, and it's the first time Pax8 have brought it to Europe. Rob Ray from Pax8 is the number one event organizer
Mhm.
within the industry, and it has been off the chain good, like wildly good, hasn't it?
It's been insanely good. Obviously, I've been to a handful of events, MSP events, IT events recently, and even beyond just the tech events, I had my fingers in events before. I've organized events. I've always been very peculiar about how I like events, and this went above and beyond. And again, beyond, absolutely the name fits there perfectly because the event from every single detail, from the location, from the service in the hotel, from the check-in experience, from the food, the speakers, the networking, the vibe, the parties, the learning, the content, like all of that has been thought to the last detail. Everything was running on time, everything was running smoothly. Everyone was super friendly, super nice, super awesome. So impressed.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and the
That
food
is
has.
a lot of superlatives. That sounds like a recommendation. And especially, I know, Richard, that we've been talking and you've been talking with people as well about the changing nature of events and event space for MSPs. And I know that you've had that conversation with Rob that we'll be sharing, and the two of you talked about it. So it's really exciting to hear that you've had such a positive response, and especially for the first time they've done an event here in the EMEA. So that's really, really good. But let's dive into some more stuff about the actual day rather than the hotel. Although I am pleased that they've
Yeah.
been leaving you little mints. So tell me, what have been your highlights? Who have you seen? What have you heard about? Who have you met? What's been exciting?
So much good stuff. Yeah, so let's rewind. Sunday night. So I got into town on Saturday. Well, we got into town on Saturday evening, and there's loads of other bits and pieces that I'll tell you about. But on the content itself, so people started turning up on Sunday at the IHG, the Intercontinental in Berlin. Wonderful venue, as we said. Sunday night, things kicked off with the Women in Tech meetup, and so our colleague Karina went along there, spent time with our great friend Vera Tucci. And I believe, obviously, I wasn't at that event, but because we were at the press conference, Lenka and I were.
Mhm.
But I believe there was over 100 people in attendance just at the Women in Tech meetup,
Oh,
and I heard
fantastic.
phenomenal feedback. So, and as you'll hear throughout this event. Pax8 are great supporters, not just of their own community, but they invite external communities.
Hmm.
So there was people from the Tech Tribe, there was people from CompTIA, from Network Group. Yeah, so fantastic. So that was Sunday, and then everybody got prepared. And Monday, the event kicked off properly. And day one, so Scott Chasing, who is, I was going to say the new CEO, but he stepped up to that role at Pax8. I think it was earlier this year in the spring. He delivered a keynote on the future of managed services and specifically artificial intelligence. Now,
Hmm.
before people listen at home groan and go, "Oh, another AI keynote," this was phenomenal. So Scott, for those who are not familiar with him, is a really technically driven CEO, and you could tell. So the content that he was saying is, he can see MSPs evolving into being businesses that manage agents that manage the artificial intelligence. So really, really interesting keynote. Some other highlights from day one. From stress to success, MSP mental wellness. So there was a lot of breakout sessions with different topics that you could go to, two or three breakouts. And I went to Paul Croker from the UK, who spoke
We've had him
openly.
on the podcast, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly. And Paul's a great friend to the show, and he spoke openly about his challenges with mental health. He was interviewed by Daniel Skip, and we need more of that.
Definitely, definitely.
We've shined a light on, mental health, and I've spoken about my own mental health challenges. And so so what a brave thing for Paul to do, to get up there and to speak openly. And there was about 100 people in the room for that. And I think Paul would have made a big difference to a lot of people there. So that was a great breakout. And then the other highlight from day one for me was the closing keynote from Nancy Rademacher.
Yes, you mentioned that.
And
Cool.
again, it was on the topic of sort of AI and automation. She was a really funny, engaging external expert speaker to come in, and again, we'll have a write up of those sessions on our event roundup on the blog, Gudrun. But yeah, what a fantastic day one! What did you get up to on day one as well?
Yeah, so I loved the opening keynotes. Obviously, the opening keynotes are more setting up the stage, looking a little bit at, what is Beyond, introducing Pax8 a bit more to the audience, saying where have we been, where are we now, where we're heading, which I think was a great kind of a start of the event to really set the stage. I loved from an events perspective that they have such a high turnout rate. It was for me one of those little moments where they're like, yeah, we have about 92% turnout rate in our event. So people not only buy tickets, but they show up and they're engaged. Because
Mhm.
for Pax8, it's all about community and you could
Yeah.
see it, you could feel it. It is about community, it is about learning, and it is about experience. And
Mhm.
yes, the initial opening keynotes were about, this is the vision, this is the theory, this is the why you should care. And
Mhm.
then all the breakouts were so designed to be so practical, so hands-on, so actionable, and yet realistic, because there could be a little bit of a sometimes disconnect between bigger companies like Pax8 and then the smaller MSPs. But everything, all the feedback that I got from the vendors, from the partners, from the MSPs, from the people that I was talking to for the past couple of days, everyone just like absolutely praising the applicability, the practicality, the detail, the information shared, the value from all these sessions, plus then the incredible vibe of, the community and experience coming together and living through these days and bonding so strongly.
And in terms of attendees, Gudrun, this is unusual for our industry, but Rob Ray is, a remarkable fellow himself who runs, and at the press conference, he shared the actual numbers of attendance. So this is not like, well, we've got 1,000 people in the room and
Mhm.
500 of them are Pax8 employees or whatever,
Yeah.
or the cleaning staff or whatever, which happens more than you would realize, and it's a bit disingenuous in my opinion. Rob said they're only going to share the actual the figures, the real figures, which is
Yes.
quite remarkable for this industry. 504 MSPs in attendance from all over the world.
Yep.
40 countries representing,
Yeah,
I
Oh.
think, compared to in the US when they had the Beyond in Denver, I think they were about 28 countries represented because we're Europe, we're a lot more compact here.
Mhm.
We had 40 countries representing, but still there was lots of people from the Americas, there was lots of people from the Asian region, we met people from Australia. So even for an EMEA event, we still get incredible world global representation.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the quality of the people in the room, and I'm not just talking about, these were all big MSPs, but it was the world's most progressive MSPs. They were there to learn. They were with an open mind. They brought the energy, and it was just, yeah. If we it sounds like we're raving about it, it's
Just a
really,
little bit.
really good events, yeah.
Um,
And that
but
was day one.
but
And
who
we're
have you?
not talking about the rave party at the end. We're just
Yeah,
talking about
I know.
we'll
But
we'll get to that.
who have you met then? Because it sounds like you've met some interesting people. I know we're talking a lot in our own content about disruption
Yeah.
and doing things differently and what have you. So who have you met that you've found interesting that you didn't know or you've got to know a little bit better?
Well, the vendor hall, the vendor expo area, and again, it was just a wonderful space. It was bright, it was light, it got incredibly busy in there, but there was room to move around. And again, the vendor hall, because, Pax8, what they do is they curate the best vendors in the industry and bring them
Mhm.
together in one place in the cloud marketplace. So, unlike a lot of events where you go and there's the same old vendors, I was like a kid in a sweet shop because I wandered in and I'm like, wow, I've never heard of these guys. I've never heard. And so we recorded a ton of videos. So I'd encourage listeners to go and check out our YouTube channel and social media. But we spoke to Identity, which
Identic.
Identic, I beg your pardon, which is a startup business out of Amsterdam in the
Mhm.
Netherlands. They're coming on and they're doing some great things around, as you would imagine, around identity. There was BVoIP, our great friends Alec and George
Yep,
from
yep. We've
the
had
US.
VoIP on as well, haven't we,
Yeah.
George? Yeah, a long
Fox
time ago.
software. That was a really interesting one. So, we talk about the most progressive, positive disruptors in our industry, but Pax8, one of the things of the event was choice. We want to
Mhm.
give people choice.
Yep.
And we'll get onto that more. But Foxit software were there. So I think everybody's familiar with Adobe.
Hmm.
And some people have got a love-hate relationship with Adobe. It can be bloated, it can be expensive,
Yep.
and Foxit provide alternatives to Adobe. So that
Hmm.
was a really interesting one. We did a video there. Roost was another one we did a video with. Roost have got an automation platform that I was super excited about. They've got lots of cool stuff going on there. And Sales Builder, another wonderful company that we've mentioned a couple of times, but a fairly sort of new company,
Hmm.
and do a quoting platform and much, much more. So those were some of the vendors we spoke to. We spoke to so many way too many MSPs to even give a shout out to because there were so many remarkable MSPs in
Course.
the room as well. But for me, two other, I got to sit down and record bonus episodes of Tub Talk with Philip Morgan and with Rob Ray from
Miles. Yep.
Pax8. So they're published as well. And again, those guys, when they're running around a super, super busy event to make time to record podcasts with me, meant a great deal. So that was just day one. We'll talk about day two when you're ready.
Okay, so what were your highlights? A quick snapshot of day two. Lenka, what about you?
So day two was a bit lighter, which is great. It wasn't as intense because day one there were so many breakout sessions, so many things happening
Mhm.
simultaneously. So day two was great with some of the sessions that I'll let actually Richard talk more about them. But for me, always highlight is to go at marketing sessions. I'm a bit obsessed with learning more about marketing.
Yep.
And Mark Kopperman always delivers great. He's hilarious, such a great presenter. So it's always a great session to watch him
Yeah.
deliver what he knows.
There
Yeah.
was, yeah, our great friend Mark Coatman,
Yep.
author, MSP expert. So Mark and Lamara Thorne from the Pax8 Academy did a session called Cracking the Code, The
Oh.
Secrets of Effective Marketing and Prospecting for MSPs. And it
Ooh.
was fantastic because Mark is one of the best presenters in our industry,
Yep.
so engaging. And him and Limara did a brilliant session. And they did a live website review of one of the partners in the room as well, which was absolutely terrifying for the partner, I
I
would
was
imagine.
gonna say that always sounds so nerve-wracking. I've never been brave enough to offer myself like that.
But yeah, it was great. And again, you've got, a string of great keynotes and things. But yeah, day two, as Lenka said, a little bit not slower. That's not the right word for it. A
Lighter.
little bit lighter though, because there
Yep.
was fewer sessions than day one, and that's a good thing
Oh,
because
definitely. Yeah, sounds like it was needed.
in all seriousness, I spoke to so many MSPs on day two who were saying that their brains were blown by day one. So much good ideas and that. And you can have too much of a good thing, actually. So, yeah, day two was excellent. And then, so we finished, I think it was about 5 o'clock. And then should we talk about the party?
I don't want to talk about the party. I've been following
Okay.
it on Instagram from all of you, and I have got such massive FOMO. And that was
Yeah.
even before I saw the special guest. But go on, make me jealous. Go
Yeah,
on.
so the party was interesting because for me, this was really the first massive IT event I've ever been to. So I didn't know what to expect. And you could feel like 8 o'clock, everyone was ready for the door to open. massive expo hall has turned into like a wild party. And even throughout the days, we've always had a DJ's booth. So okay, there was a
Yeah.
bit of a vibe throughout the whole event. Always good music, always popping, always DJs. And immediately you entered, it was like a party, it was like a concert, it was like a rave, lights and DJs and everything. Okay, great. We start with a bit of a celebration, get a nice band there. Kind of, we're in Germany, I would say stereotypically German, the awkwardly weird, lovable band, playing awesome tunes, getting people on the dance floor. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then they stop playing, and out of nowhere there's an announcement. I'm paying only half attention with my brain. And out of nowhere, Fatboy Slim is just opening up a massive rave party. And I'm like,
God.
what the hell's
Fat
happening?
Boy Slim. Norman Cook
Fat
was
Boy
there
Slim.
in colour, and people lost their minds.
I'm not surprised. I
Yeah,
would have done.
it was amazing. I said to Rob Ray again, I've given Rob a number of shout outs, but it was such a phenomenal event. I cut up with him for a beer, and we're watching the dance floor, and I said, "My goodness, you know your market," because the dance floor was heaving with middle-aged men and women from the IT industry, all going crazy dancing to Fatboy Slim.
Yeah,
It was just an
absolutely.
incredible set. Yeah, so just what an incredible experience.
Oh wow, I am jealous. And did anybody ask him about when he was almost in Derry Girls?
No, but a few of our friends in the MSP world managed to grab some time with him because after his set, he just went and hung out in the hotel bar,
Oh,
and
how
people
nice.
selfies, having
Oh,
conversations with him. What a lovely guy! So, stroke of genius from Rob Ray and the team at Pax8 for organising this.
oh, oh, it's very cool. Have you got anything else to tell me? Anything else to make me jealous about, or are you ready for your quiz?
Yeah, wow, we've got some other stuff that we want to give a shout
Yeah.
out to on almost like
Go ahead.
stories and on a personal level. So, first of all, our colleague and friend Karina flew in from South Africa, from Cape Town. Now, a number of, it's going to be some people listening to this podcast have perhaps exchanged emails and know that Karina is the person that manages my emails. She's my
Yep.
assistant. She's my right hand. She's been with the business over 3 years. But what a lot of people may not know is I've never met Karina in person. Other than my wife, she's probably the most important woman in my life, knows everything about me, and I've never met her in person. Such is the world that we live in nowadays with remote working and everything. But Karina and her boyfriend Jared flew in from Cape Town, and
Yep.
what a thrill to spend time with her. Just an amazing human being, and I think she's got the taste for MSP events now. Mind you,
I'm
we've
not surprised.
the best ever MSP event ever, perhaps. But yeah, it was so wonderful. And Karina got to spend time with some of our the vendor clients that we do advisory work with, as well as the team at Pax8. And it was just such a thrill to spend time with Karina, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was so lovely to have her on the ground here to see how she is really in person, how she
Yeah.
handles conversation, how she really is adding such a wonderful energy to the dynamic that we have returned and with, MSPs and vendors and clients and everyone. So it was so, so awesome
Yeah.
to finally meet her in person and be able to hang out here a little bit. And yeah, I think she loved it. I'm sure she's convinced to be willing to work with us for a little longer and come to a few more events.
Yeah, and I think actually my role in this business might become obsolete soon because obviously I was running around doing videos and doing podcast interviews and things, and there was a couple of videos that I really wanted to grab and didn't have the time. I came down to the show floor and spoke to Lenka and Karina. I said, I really must record this video, and they said, we've done it. And Karina put herself on camera and did these videos as well. I'm like, okay, I can see where this is going. I'm going to become obsolete to this business altogether at this rate.
I mean, yeah, we do have an AI Richard
We
up our
do.
sleeves, so
Yeah. But
just let the
so
girls handle it. We'll be fine.
exactly. And all joking aside, we had a conversation, didn't we, with Vera Tucci,
Mhm.
the women in IT that Karina
And the former
attended.
guest. Yep.
Yeah, and so I think we were talking about doing an all women podcast. I've no need to be on there. I think Lenka, Vera, and Karina can cover that.
Yeah, we had such a
Sounds good.
wonderful conversation with Vera, and halfway through, I'm like, oh, damn, I wish I've had recorded this. But then I'm like, well, we have a podcast, so we will just invite Vera and have a bit of a conversation with
Do it
her.
again.
get some other women from the Women in Tech panel, because definitely there's lots of conversations that we need to be having, the way Richard was talking about mental health, one thing definitely. The other one is just more awareness about, women in tech. We just work differently. Our energies, our hormones, our
Mhm.
situations. It's just a slightly different balance. It's a different dynamic that I'm grateful and happy to see that there's lots of women in the tech industry, but still there is not enough understanding of how to really take advantage and enable women to do their best job ever
Yeah.
and really help the industry to really shine. So I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, so it's a thrill to catch up with Karina. And the other big news, which all's well that ends well, but when I arrived on Saturday night, flew in with KLM from the UK. Unfortunately, my luggage did not arrive. And so I had a sleepless night Saturday because not only did it contain my clothes,
Yeah.
but it contained all our recording equipment, it contained all my medication, everything else. So sleepless night Saturday night worrying about, well, how we're going to get the work done and how am I going to actually dress myself and things going forward. But my goodness, so word got around on Sunday
Yeah.
and I get quite emotional just talking about this, but our friends in the industry just rallied round to
Oh,
a
fabulous.
ridiculous degree. So I want to give a, personal shout out to Juan Fernandez, the channel chief at Super Ops, who sorted me out with a jacket so I could feel in the conference zone there
Good.
and look. James Steele, my great friend from Sales
Oh,
Build,
yes, James.
video called me. No, I should say before I explain further. So Germany on a Sunday, everywhere is closed.
Yeah, like in
No,
France. Yeah.
rarely shops open at all. And so, yeah, I was felt like I was snookered, with this. But James was getting off a train at Berlin Central, spotted a clothes shop, video
Oh,
called
wow.
me, and acted as my personal shopper to pick up some items.
Oh,
So thank you, James. Greg Jones and Jack Cook of Kaseya, who were here, great friends as well. They lent me some clothes, and also Greg went around the vendor hall before it opened and sorted out a ton of swag, t-shirts
excellent.
and socks and hoodies and things. So yeah, I was like a Formula One driver at one point, walking around with so much logoed stuff on. I also want to give a shout out to Andy Reedman, Troy Midwood, who offered to give me his socks. Uh,
Oh,
and of course, our Lenka and Karina, who, without any prompting from me, just went and bought toiletries and things. So Monday, I posted to LinkedIn about this situation because actually, if you reflect on it, it is heartwarming. I
oh,
was,
very definitely.
and I don't think I looked too bad, did I, on Monday and all the clothes that I was
You
begged.
didn't look like you were in a mishmash of sponsored items.
No,
Well,
no.
I think Juan's blazer did a good job. I think we had in one of the videos in interview with Juan, we did have a moment of the guys comparing who wore it better because Juan's blazer was absolutely fantastic and fitting
Yes.
him perfectly. So he was really wearing
And
the
Richard
perfect
does like a
clothing.
blazer.
I do like a blazer. I do
Yeah.
like a sports jacket. So
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah.
it,
But
it, it was great.
and then I'm happy to say that Monday evening, my luggage was found and couriered to the hotel.
Fantastic.
Just as a funny final part on this story, so I walked back up to my hotel room, wandered in, and my luggage was there. I'm like, oh, wonderful, my luggage has arrived, along with another suitcase that wasn't mine.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it was like, oh my goodness. And I thought, the poor people who have lost that suitcase. So, but anyway, I wanted to give a huge shout out to Matthias and Camilla from IHG, the Intercontinental in Berlin. I went to the front desk there. First of all, from Saturday night onwards, they were brilliant at helping
Mhm.
me, with electronics and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
They pointed me towards, there was a hospital literally opposite the venue. Wandered in, and my goodness, German healthcare, so efficient. I was in there 10 minutes, everybody spoke English, and I came away with my medication
Fantastic.
almost straight away afterwards. So that was wonderful. But they did manage to find the owner of the other suitcase who was staying here at this hotel. So we've
Oh,
got
well, that's good. And were they going around in IT merch as well.
No, no, they didn't. So they weren't part of the event, but they were very grateful to get the suitcase back. So
Good.
all's well that ends well. But I'd encourage anybody listening to this, if you want to see the story as it unfolded, but not a joke about clothes there, but go onto LinkedIn and you can see as I lost my suitcase and as people rallied around. But what an amazing community and what an amazing bunch of people, friends that I've got in this industry to help me out with it. So,
Yeah.
so as you can tell, the event was eventful.
It sounds like it.
But on the
Good.
side of that, we also have a couple of very exciting announcements that we now can make because they have been made public. One of them
Okay.
that obviously Pax8 Beyond is coming back next year to EMEA in October, and we will meet in Amsterdam. So if Berlin was a party, I can't wait what's gonna happen next year in Amsterdam.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
and some of the other announcements, and I think we heard, I think there was 157 tickets sold for Pax8 Beyond EMEA in Amsterdam next October in 12 months' time.
Brilliant.
That just shows you people do not want to miss out on this. And the other big announcements from the event, no, I mean, there was too many probably to cover here. We'll cover them on Tublog. But Super Ops, who we're huge fans of on this show, we've spoke about them a number of times. Super Ops Next Generation PSA and RMM tool announced that, or formalized the announcement, they've become the first PSA RMM tool in the Pax8 cloud marketplace, uh,
Brilliant.
which is wonderful news. And again, just a credit to show how Pax8 are scouring the market and only bringing in the best vendors who are doing the greatest work. So
Yep.
that was good. And Pax8 also announced their Voyager alliance, which is we'll include more details of it on the blog, but essentially, redefining what partner programs look like.
Yep.
Yeah, so the Voyager alliance. If you're a Pax8 partner, go and check that out. If you're not a Pax8 partner, go and check it out anyway, because some of the features and facilities that Pax8 are extending to MSPs are mind blowing. So
Yep.
yeah, great news there as well.
Brilliant. Anything else?
Well, so much more, but
We
this is
can
supposed to
talk,
be
yeah.
a travel log,
This is supposed to be
not a
a
three
short
hour.
travel log.
Yeah, I
So
think I think
Right.
this is the highlight.
these are the highlights. Now, normally
That's the highlights. Goodness
we
me,
do
I'm exhausted
we
just
do these
listening to
travel
you. You're
logs,
almost
don't
being
we?
worn out.
With a drink in hand or whatever, and we go through it. And but if this is a longer episode, it's because this was, if not the one of the best MSP events that's ever been put on. I've been quite outspoken, I know, on the blog about saying this industry is the events industry is it needs a shake up. And
Mhm.
Pax8 have set the bar for what these type of events look like going forward. So if you're listening to this and you've got a bit of FOMO, you should have, because you need to
Definitely.
be here next time. Pax8 Beyond in Denver next year and Beyond EMEA in Amsterdam, must attend events, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. It's if you're putting an investment into an event, and I'm not talking even about the price of the ticket, that's the least of the investment that MSPs and people have to make. It's the travel, it's the time out of the business, it's obviously the recovery time. So it's not just buying the ticket, but this event has paid off, must have paid off so much above and beyond for everyone because what the MSPs could learn here, the connections they could build, the inspiration, the excitement. Genuinely, this is the best investment in a business.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's a ringing endorsement if ever I heard one. Right. I have three quick quiz questions for you. So I hope you're feeling prepared before I let you go. So
Okay.
I'm going to ask you how well you know some facts about Berlin.
Mm.
Um, and there are two multiple choice questions to make it a little bit easier. But question one is, which animal is on the Berlin coat of arms?
Ooh.
I don't know. Karina was the one bragging that Jared, her partner, was checking some facts about Berlin, so
Oh,
he would have known. But
I'm gonna have a guess. A bear?
Hmm.
Okay, what's your?
well, I would say wolf.
Okay, well, yeah, Richard, it is. It's in fact a black bear.
Ooh, there we go.
Very good.
Well,
Now,
hold on. Like, Lenka lives just down the road relatively from Berlin, so this is unfair. But if that's the only question I get right, I should be okay with it. Yeah.
now, in the course of my research on something completely different, I discovered that there is a Northeast favorite, which is surprisingly also consumed in Berlin.
Ooh.
So, Is it a Greg's sausage roll? Is it peas pudding, which for anybody from not the northeast of England, this is a dish made from boiled yellow split peas spread onto ham sandwiches? Or is it C, Newcastle brown ale? One of those three items is consumed in Berlin.
Ooh.
I don't know of any of those. I know Berlin is all about their lager because, well, it's a Central European, so proper beer would be more of a lager beer here. And Germans like their currywurst.
Oh, the
But
currywurst was good.
but from your options, I will say option A. I don't know.
I'm going to go option C. Was that Newcastle Brown Ale,
It
wasn't it?
was.
I think I've seen Newcastle Brown Ale in a pub or something here. But
Well,
anyway, I
I
might be making
I
it
no longer drink alcohol, so I don't pay attention to it anymore.
Well, you're both wrong. It's peas pudding.
Oh, peas pudding. I've never had peas pudding. I'm not sure I ever want to have peas pudding, but
Well, it's because my mum cooked some, and that we obviously went down a Google rabbit hole of peas pudding, and that was when I discovered it. So I thought that would be a nice question to ask you.
yeah.
Yeah, obviously there's not a Greg's in Berlin.
No.
Right, question 3. The Euro band Infernal had a pop hit with the song From Paris to Berlin. But how far is it to go from Paris to Berlin? Is it 655 miles, which is about 1,054 kilometers? Is it 800 miles, which is about 1,287 kilometers? Or is it 440 miles, which is 708 kilometers? Place your bets, please.
It's not that far. Europe is not that big. I would say the last option, the shortest one, I think.
I'm going to go for option A.
Okay. Yep, Richard, it is 655 miles or 1,054 kilometers approximately. So, Richard, that makes you the winner.
Well, this is unprecedented.
I mean, it really is. That's 2 out of 3. It's astonishing.
Yeah, a pure luck, of course. There we go.
Good question.
Good
Good
question.
unexpected questions. I like that.
Good. All right. I am going to let you go, guys, because you might be all partied out, or
I'm getting hungry with all
you're
that
getting hungry.
food
It's all
and
that
that.
talk
Yeah.
of currywurst. You've made me hungry now.
God, I'm just thinking about the food at the event. We could do an entire travelogue
Oh
about
my
the
God.
food at this event. It's awesome.
I may need to do an Instagram reel just about the food. I have so many clips. The food was absolutely, and with Karina, we were all about the desserts, and even the dessert bar here was top notch.
I'm
So,
gonna have to stop you there before my tummy rumbles and ruins this travel log. So I'm gonna say thank you, both of you, and
Thank
to
you, Gudrun.
everybody back home and on the airwaves. Thank you for listening. The event write-up and some not bonus travel episodes, bonus episodes are going out in the next day or so. So stay tuned. If you check out Richard and Lenka and Karina on the socials, you will have as much FOMO as I did. And of course, you can find us all over on tublog.co.uk. And I will say bye for now.
Cheers.
bye.
Tschüss.